Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Urchak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and I'm going to start out right here at 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 46. And it says, "And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death." And went into that because of the article we're about to read about China being poised to take leadership within this NWO that is forming. And it's showing right here, China has followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. China's following Babylon, it's following the Edomites, and the Lord hates the Edomites and therefore hates Babylon. But China's following her who is hated, and the Lord's going to judge them as well when he comes back. And it says he's going to send plagues on them, and he will. But China, as you see in this article from the People's Voice.tv, and it's an older article from 2022, but seeing the formation of BRICS and how it's coming onto the world stage with basically the two main leaders of it being Russia and China of the BRICS, you're seeing this being formed, and you're seeing their words, as in from Klaus Schwab and Soros, you're seeing that these things are actually coming to fruition. So even though this article is 2 years old, it's very relevant at this point with the emergence of BRICS and the emergence of China and Russia leading it. And so it says, the World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab has praised China as a model for the transformation of the world during an appearance on Chinese television. And you could see that the elite do use China as a kind of a testing ground. The first people, I'm sure that anyone can remember wearing masks, were the Asians in China and Japan and Korea. They were wearing masks there, and that was most likely the elite testing that out to see how people would react to it. You also see the social credit system, which has been pushed in China. That's something they want to push onto the rest of the world, and they put it there in China first. So you're seeing some of the ways in which the elite wish to manage the earth. You're seeing it being tested there in China. Moving on, it says Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, was speaking to Qian Wei, the host of the World Insight program on the Beijing-based China Global Television Network, about the recent G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia. Asked about the outcome of the summit, which included agreement on policy priorities such as tackling climate change, Schwab ordered the elected world leaders to go even further. He says, we have to have a strategic mood, he said. We have to construct the world of tomorrow. It's a systematic transformation of the world, the leaders, he said, must define what the world should look like after this transformation period. And they really think they're going to burn down the system and then raise up a new system all of a sudden, and the Lord's not going to have any problem with it. They think they're really going to emerge from these ashes and rise up like the phoenix, but the Lord has something different planned for them. It says Schwab's praise for China echoes words uttered by George Soros during an interview with the Financial Times. George Soros laid out the global elite's plan for ushering in what he called a new world order. During the interview, according to Soros, China must lead this new world order, creating it and owning it in the same way the United States owns the current order. And so you see, just like in the scripture, thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. And they really are following and leading, or trying to lead, the pack in this manner after Esau. Moving on, it says, I think this would be the time because you really need to bring China into the creation of a new world order. Financial world order, said Soros. They are kind of reluctant members of the IMF. They play along, but they don't make much of a contribution because it's not their institution. Their share is not commensurate. Their voting rights are not commensurate to their weight. So I think you need a new world order that China has to be part of the process of creating it. And they have to buy in. They have to own it the same way as I said the United States owns the Washington Consensus, the current order. And I think this would be a more stable one where you would have a coordinated policy. Just reading on a little bit more. It says it goes to show that the elite have never really hidden what they're doing, and that is a big fat. I guess they do put it out there. It's just kind of veiled. It says, but they just reveal it in dry interviews and barely readable policy papers, while the public is distracted by an emotionally charged, easily understood good guy versus bad guy fairy tale. Yeah, and they gotta have all the people caught up in that, in emotions. That's what usually stirs the people, but facts actually go over their heads. It says, according to this fairy tale, which is offered by both the mainstream media and the overwhelming majority of alternative media sources, the U.S. is in conflict with Russia, while a determined band of freedom-fighting nations, the BRICS, are on a quest to free themselves from the evils of Western imperialism once and for all. And this is just another big play that the elites are doing. It's spoken of in Revelation, two horns like a lamb, but spoke like a dragon. This is their false left-right paradigm. They do it here in America with the plebes and patricians, aka the Democrats and Republicans, playing the political system, but you're seeing it here on an even larger scale of them doing it with the two wings of Western hegemony versus the BRICS hegemony. And you're seeing the BRICS bucks coming online, and you're seeing China and Russia at the head of it. And so you are seeing China being placed into this leadership role, but truly all the power is through the elites. And eventually they're going to start speaking like a dragon. This is going to get harsh. They're going to really be making their moves, and as it says, seeing that he hath but a short time, the devil shall come down with great wrath. The elite of the Edomites in particular know that their time of rulership is running out, and so they're going to bank on their blessing, and they're going to start moving things along quicker. It says, in reality, this is a load of childish nonsense. Both the Western powers and the BRICS nations are working closely together through the G20 to bring in the central banking cabal's new world order. And that's basically what I was just saying. They're just two separate wings. Here are the nations of the G20. The 20th nation is the EU, with the core Western powers circled in blue and the BRICS circled in red. So you can see that group right there. But the point being is that they want, even from this article 2 years ago, they were talking about moving China into a leadership position, and we can see that China is now in a leadership position with BRICS, and with this their monetary system coming online, and with these wars that are going on now. China's there. They're not at the forefront of the wars like Russia is, but China is there, and they are backing their BRICS allies. But let's get into the scriptures, because all of this is nonsense. None of this is going to work out. The Lord gave us a timeline that the heathens would have to rule the earth. He showed it to us in a beautiful statue, which is outlined in Daniel chapter 2, and then gave it to us as beast in Daniel chapter 7. But started out with the Assyro-Babylonian Empire, and then went on to the Medo-Persian Empire, and then to the Greek Empire, and then to the Romans, which would all end with the Romans, but Rome was allowed to fall and then rise back up again. That's the beast whose deadly wound was healed. And now we're at this little horn, as it speaks of in Daniel, or in Daniel 7, and then in Daniel 2 it speaks of it as the feet of miry clay and iron. And so we're at the last segment of heathen rulership, but they think they're really going to extend this and keep it going with their NWO. But the Lord's he's going to be laughing at them as they try, all in vanity. It's all vain. There's no reason for them to be trying this. But I get it. Why would they want to go into slavery? But they have no choice. This is Psalms 2 and verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Speaking of the New World Order and their plans that they have for 2030, 2050, so on and so forth, it's all vain. It's really just a mirage. None of that stuff is going to happen. What's going to happen is Yahushua is going to return once these heathens start raging in World War III. Yahushua is going to return, and he's going to put their armies down, and then rescue the elect, and then set up this earth in a proper order, and having the heathen at the top running things like China or the US or any Western nation. It's all vanity. It's just out of order. It's the opposite of what the Lord intended. Those are slaves. So the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together. And that's what they're doing with the G20 summit and these different summits that they have, in their secret meetings and that the elite have, and whatever Moab's saying, whatever Klaus Schwab and Soros and the Rothschilds, whatever they're saying, they do this together. They counsel together, and it makes them weary because they do it so often, trying to think of ways in which they could overcome the Lord. It's just not going to work out. It says, against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord. So they're fighting against the Lord and against his anointed, fighting against Yahushua. And it says, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Because they want to get out of what is coming, but it's all vanity. It says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Especially with Jacob's trouble coming, which is going to be trouble for the other nations as well, and with World War III, aka the Battle of Armageddon, or the Valley of Yehoshaphat, they're going to be in derision. They're not going to know what to do, basically. All that counseling was for naught. It says, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. And it's going to ultimately happen with the nukes falling. It says, yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. So we're going to have Yahushua and King David soon enough. But till then, these heathen are just going to rage. I'm going to finish out here at Numbers 24 and 15. And it says, and he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said. Because the Lord gave Balaam a vision of the end times, and this is what it is. And this is something the heathen cannot break asunder. They can't set these bands off. This is going to happen. This is prophecy. It says, he hath said, which heard the words of the Most High, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. And it says, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel. That star being Yahushua, who does come through Jacob. That scepter is the power which will be given to Yahushua, and he comes out of Israel. And it says, and shall smite the corners of Moab. Moab being the Chinese, who they were just saying is poised to be the leaders. This prophecy says Yahushua is going to smite the corners of Moab. He's going to put them down. And then it says, and destroy all the children of Sheth. The children of Sheth go into the children of the tumult. And that always makes me think of Psalms 83 and all of the enemies of Israel. He's going to destroy them all. He's going to put them down and put them in chains. And it says, and Edom shall be a possession. Edom being so-called European, so-called white people, because they're going into slavery. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies. Seir is their ancient home, the Edomites, but they're not going to need it because they're going to be slaves. And according to, I think it's Obadiah 1 and 19, Judah is going to take possession of Edom's inheritance. And it says, and Israel shall do valiantly, because Israel, the Lord's going to allow Israel to get busy as well. It says, out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. Because Yahushua is going to put them down, and he's going to give power unto the Israelites, or to a portion of the Israelites, of the elect. They're going to get busy as well. Verse 20, and it says, and when he looked on Amalek, Amalek's the so-called small hatters, or the 1948ers, the people that are in the Lord's land claiming to be the Lord's people. That's actually Amalek. They are a people that the Lord hates and said he'd have war with from generation to generation. So they're about to really taste that war. It says, and when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations. And even within that article, you're seeing Amalek was the first of the nations. They are moving and shaking things around. Klaus Schwab is an Amalekite. George Soros is an Amalekite. And they're first of the nations. They're the bankers. They're the ones that run the media and entertainment, run Hollywood, and sports. They're the ones whose voice and influence goes out throughout the earth. They're the first of the nations. They're at the top. That's the oppressor. It says, but his latter end, so the end of them, shall be that he perish forever. Because the Lord is going to do away with all of the Amalekites and all of the Edomites. Really all of Idumea, which is Edom. Their seed is going to be taken off of this planet. They're not going to be here anymore. So, and after the 1,000-year reign is up and Obadiah 1 and 18 happened, there won't be any more so-called Caucasians or so-called 1948ers. They won't be on this planet. They are too wicked to exist in a righteous kingdom that is coming, and they've done too much that's unforgivable to where they have to be punished and thoroughly. And so I thought that article was interesting, seeing it now, considering it's 2 years later, and we are seeing Moab or China being poised for leadership in this coming order that the elite would like to establish. It's not going to happen. This is just an example of the heathen raging. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Urchak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.